Hi there, this is Andrew from the Road Cyclist Guide, and today we're going to think about how to stay warm on your bike during the winter. Is winter riding? Winter riding is absolutely fantastic. If you imagine sort of bright sunshine, crisp frosty days, beautiful sort of country lanes and frosty fields, but it can become painful quite quickly. And I'm personally not that great at dealing with pain or dealing with discomfort. But there are a number of things that you can do to make sure that your winter bike rides are fun and are comfortable, and you come home with that really nice, lovely, warm, tingling sort of glow which you can get. The first tip, so number one, is to set off warm. This seems a little bit ridiculous, but if you actually set off with your fingers cold, or your toes are cold because you've been sitting around, or your nose is cold, it takes a lot longer once you get on the bike to actually get warmed up. It's much better if you are actually cold in the house before you set off, possibly to go for a run up and down the stairs a couple of times, a little bit of jumping around and hand rubbing, and even possibly have a hot drink to warm you up, so that you actually go out of the house toasty warm. I found particularly my toes get really cold. I'm not so bad with my hands and my other extremities. My feet get really cold, and even sitting around in the house now, I'm sitting in socks and my toes are a little bit cold, and it's a really warm day outside. Setting off with cold toes on a bike is just disastrous. They're never going to warm up, so make sure your feet are warm particularly. The next thing is that you lose most of your heat out of your head, as you probably already know. You can wear underneath your helmet. You can wear a skull cap. You can wear ear warmer things. You can wear a buff around your neck. I've never actually bothered, to be honest with those. Now, having said this, I like to be warm and comfortable. I find the first 10 minutes or so they're really good, and they do keep you warm. But actually, after 10 minutes or so, once you've got your body temperature up, I find them a bit constricting and a little bit too warm. So I've never actually worn them. Of course, you could just stop and take them off, but I've never felt the necessity for that, even over the last few weeks, cycling in sort of temperatures that have been round about zero or just underneath zero for an hour or so. And actually, once you're warm, it's fine. Okay. Looking after your extremities then is the important one. Obviously, you're going to wear gloves. I've found cycling through this winter, wearing two pairs of gloves works really well. I've got a pair of sort of cycling gloves. They are well padded, and I don't particularly they don't make my hands feel particularly nice. They're windproof. And I've got another pair of over gloves that go over those, thinner pair, and actually wearing two pairs makes a big difference. So try that. The slight offset with that is that operating the gear levers, and obviously operating the gears is a bit tricky because my thumbs come up really fat. Ski gloves are supposed to be very good also, rather than cycling gloves. You can, of course, keep your hands moving as well. You find that is really good on the bike, keeping your thumbs in. And, again, I'm finding once I've been going for 10 or 15 minutes and I've got through that initial sort of pain of the wind, actually my hands are warming up, and I'm coming back with my hands actually sweating to a certain extent inside the gloves. Feet are a different matter, and I struggle with this. Wearing overshoes, if you want to invest in a pair of winter cycling boots, that's possibly the ultimate solution. You may not want to go that far. I'm wearing my normal summer cycling shoes, but of course they're made to ventilate. Having overshoes, I've got overshoes, toe overshoes at the moment, which works quite well. Having two overshoes would work well. They are quite cheap. You could have a full overshoe cover and then have the toes done. Wearing two pairs of socks does make a difference. Rather than one pair, two thin pairs is really good. I've also found a really good tip, and I've tried this, is having tin foil, putting aluminium foil, you might call it, inside the shoe, in between your sock layer over your toes, and it reflects the heat back in. I've done a bit of a non-scientific experiment on this with one shoe with the foil and one shoe without, and it does actually makes a bit of a difference. It's not like a massive difference, but it does make a noticeable difference. So that's well worth doing as well. Layering up is the other thing. Pretty obviously, having two or three layers that you can take off, two or three thin layers, works better than just one layer. A really good merino wool base layer is fantastic. It feels really nice and is really warming. You can, of course, wear the full sort of bodysuit if you want to. If you want to go down a slightly more economic route, wearing normal bibs or normal shorts with leg warmers works quite well, which is what I'm currently doing. I'm actually finding that fine. My legs are staying warm. What I am finding is that my actual body temperature will be hot, whereas my front here and down the front of my thighs and groin is absolutely tinglingly freezing cold because it's hitting the wind. If you buy a specific winter bibs or specific winter cycling kit, you will get sort of armor protection around the front, which will help with that. That's the only thing I've noticed wearing and layering up with summer gear, is just that this front bit here does get cold. Okay, the other tip then, finally, 2 more to go, is to warm up really quickly, and that first 10 minutes is the sort of pain 10 minutes, and you have to bear in mind that actually it hurts a bit now. It is a bit cold, but once you get going it'll be okay. So cycling, it doesn't really matter about your road speed. Your cadence is important. So you're actually revving around at 100 revs per minute, something like that. So really quick cadence, which means that the air temperature, the actual wind chill is relatively low at that point because you're not moving particularly quickly. But you are moving your legs quite quickly to warm up. Not saying that you should be pushing particularly hard. You need to just be spinning just to get the blood circulating and get moving. So a good fast spinning warm up with slow sort of air movement, so slow road speed works really well, particularly in terms of that cutting wind chill factor. Thinking about your route, I think, is really important as well. There's no point in cycling into a headwind all the time. Also thinking about whether you want to be going downhill or uphill at the beginning of the ride. Cycling downhill is great. Cycling downhill in the freezing cold is not great, because for any period of time you're not actually working particularly hard. Your body temperature goes, the wind chill increases. So think about the types of roads that you're going to be on. Perhaps trying to avoid roads where there's a lot of shadow. If it's a bright sunny day, you want to be shooting. Actually, you want to be cycling into the sunshine, and so you've got the warmth on your back. Thinking about the direction of the wind is also really important. And then when you've done it, I think the other thing is not to think that you have to do a 3-hour bike ride. I think, to a certain extent, if it's freezing cold outside, half an hour of, of good work, or an hour of really good sort of, not getting too cold is about enough. For me personally, an hour, it is still cold along your front, even though your core is really warm. It's a lovely feeling. I find I like it. It's a very sort of tingly feeling, and coming in with that sort of combination of really warm and really cold is really nice. Getting straight into a really hot shower, having a hot cup of coffee or a hot chocolate and something to eat when you get in. You feel amazing when you get in. It's absolutely lovely. It's a great thing to do, but within reason. I'm not, as I say, I'm not particularly hardcore. I find an hour is enough. So don't push yourself to, perhaps if it's freezing outside, to think that you have to do your normal 2, 3 or whatever hour endurance ride that you might do. Go for short, sharp and tingly and exciting. Okay, I hope that's given you a few ideas about winter bike riding. Don't just go on a turbo trainer in the garage. It's a bit boring. Get out there in the sunshine if it is sunny. Get out there in the in the ice if you dare. Take care. Bear in mind, if it's really slippery, then just don't go out. That's absolutely ridiculous. But if it is, the road conditions are reasonable, it's just the air temperature, and you've got a bit of sunshine, a bit of fresh sort of frost to look at. It's an exhilarating experience. Okay, happy cycling, and I'll see you in the next video.